Hello and welcome back to OC Aviary. I'm Oliver, and in today's video we have it full of ups and downs of breeding British birds. So to start with, we've got some youngsters to look at, we've got some more chicks on the sticks, and we've got some of the first youngsters being weaned. We've got some new arrivals in with the natives, so that's going to be very exciting, and I look forward to showing you guys that. We have some more developments with other pairs of British birds, including the Goldfinches and mules and hybrids. And then finally, we will also talk about conditioning, keeping the birds in the best condition possible, and a bit on that. So I hope you enjoy today's video. So following my video, my recent run part 2 of basically a series I'm doing with Jack Lloyd. So we've got part 2 up now. That's the first, well, they're the first parts, and we might do some more hopefully. Well, something that Jack mentioned, which a lot of people have picked up on, and I think this is spot on as well, you know, Jack's got so many years experience, is that you want to keep your birds in condition, and one of the best ways to do that is baths. Now, I try and give my birds a bath at least twice a week, really. You know, they might get one on a weekend. I'll come out on Sunday morning and every bird will get a bath on the cage, and then I'll come out maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday and do the same, so they've got a few days. So it's just about keeping the birds in condition, keeping their feathers in good health, and keeping the birds in good health, a good spirit. And yeah, I think that's probably a massive part of the success that Jack has had over the past 70, 80 odd years, just doing what he's been doing, keeping the birds on baths, and just simple things, rather than all these posh, expensive supplements to keep the birds in good condition. Just go back to what nature supplies, and that's baths for the birds. So my birds, they all get those baths. So we've got Canaries, they love a good bath, and the natives do. So I'm always replenishing that as well. You want to keep it fresh water, so no bugs or algae developing. You want to keep your baths clean, so you don't really encounter any issues there. So that's the first part of today's video, and I hope you find that a useful tip. So not only are baths important, it's also important to carry on with your conditioning regime. So you know, you've probably spent the best part of 3 months now conditioning your birds, getting them in prime condition for the breeding season. And a big way of doing that is the diet. So we control the diet of the birds, and we give them different things to bring them into condition. So we give them egg food, we'll give them conditioning seed, we'll give them germinated seed, we will put fertility vitamins and conditioning vitamins into the water. We've got obviously plenty of baths like we've just discussed, and it's important that you don't drop the ball with that. Now, I'm sure that's quite an obvious statement, but it's something that I think is quite easy to do when you've got a lot of birds, you know, a lot kicking off, where you've got maybe some natives just not ready yet, you've got other birds rearing youngsters. You're prioritising the egg food going to those birds that are rearing the youngsters, because obviously the youngsters aren't going to grow if you don't have that, and you're going to lose them, and that's the worst thing. So it's always important to make sure that the diet is there for the birds as well, and that isn't, you know, dropping off. So I continue now, so 3-4 days a week, giving the birds those conditioning supplements. So I'm doing egg food for the youngsters, which we'll see and look at in a later video, which is a bit different to my conditioned egg food, although it does the same thing. It's just better for rearing. I'm giving them pearl morbide, I'm giving them germinated seeds, I'm giving them conditioning seed in finger draws and egg food draws, and it's just to keep them going, and obviously keeping in good condition, because the last thing you want to do is let the ball drop and not get any young ones from them, because that's what you've worked for over the winter months in the conditioning period, to get them in that point, to the point they're at now, which is breeding. So just make sure that you don't let that drop, and make sure that the birds are going to be in the prime condition by also supplementing those things like the diet as well. So the first birds we're going to look at today are the Canaries. So we've got the feeder pairs, we've got the new colour pairs, and we've got the Norwich. So we're starting at the yellow Dimorphics. So here you can see we've got 2 of the youngsters being weaned now. So these 2 actually hatched just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they're 2 yellow Dimorphic chicks. Obviously they are yellow as youngsters, and the mother is obviously white, the father is yellow. So I don't know how to sex these at the moment, but they have been on yellow egg food, not the sort of the white ground egg food. So I'm not too surprised that they're that colour, but I'll have to see how they get on and how they molt out. But either way, that's those 2 being weaned. So we've got them actually in a big wire external bath. We've got egg food in there. We've got the water on here, and I do put water in the bottom as well. You just threw it everywhere earlier, so I've just took it out and put it in there. And we've got a perch on here. So what I do with that is I've obviously got that hooked onto the side and onto the door. And what's ideal is that we've got this perch that goes through and extends into the cage of the parents. And that means that the parents can also sit on the end and feed those youngsters. So we don't, we don't want them going hungry. So I've got them in this just for a few hours a day, just to make sure that they are slowly being weaned. I have seen them picking up food, but not enough that I'm going to have confidence in yet. So I don't want to risk moving them away. So that's the 2 youngsters. And then what about here? So we cleaned the nest out last week, and we've already got it rebuilt, and she's back on 4 eggs. Now, don't know if they're full. I won't be able to tell you. You can see there's Dad, and I'm sure the one will come soon. But she rebuilt within 2 days, and we've got the first egg. So that's fantastic. And hopefully, that's a second round of yellow Dimorphic. So let's hope all 4 of those are full. So now we're at the fifes, this pair of feeders. So there's 3 of the youngsters. You can see we've got a youngster on the floor, jumped the nest earlier today. And we've got the other 2 sat on the rim of the nest. So that's fantastic. And, a real development since last week. Now, as you can see, the parents have just had a bath. So they are looking a bit bedraggled, but nothing to worry about. So obviously that's the oldest youngster. Greedy bugger. He's had quite a bit more food than the other 2, but nothing to worry about because they have been feeding these 2 without a problem as well. So you can see we've got a nice little cinnamon closest here. So you might ask, well, that's, it's not the cinnamon colour, the signature brown of the cinnamon. Well, in fifes, I've spoke to Matt Eld about this, of the Canary Room, and he said with fifes that you do get those clear sort of cinnamons, but that's a red-eyed cinnamon there, so that's nice. And we've got another clear who is actually ticked, as you can see, just on the cheek, just behind the ear of the bird, is some green. So I'd say that, that's a ticked little youngster. So I can't tell feather type yet, but I'd say we've got 2 buffs and a yellow possibly, but we'll have to see. Obviously they've just jumped the nest today, and the other 2 are just hanging about on the side, so I'm not going to be moving them away until at least next week at earliest. So back with the Norwich, it's been an interesting week. We've got this pair up here, she's rebuilt, but yet to lay another egg of the second round. And we've got this pair here. Now you can see that we've got a Goldfinch in there actually with the yellow hen. The reason being is because those eggs were clear. So that's where the heartache's already starting. The eggs were clear from this pair. We had the white and blue cockbird in there, and he's just not doing his job. He's quite scraggy. I don't know what exactly has happened. He's had plenty of baths, but just seems to have struggled. So I made the decision that would move him away because he's definitely not in condition. Put him into a flight, and in place we've actually got the spare Goldfinch cock and put that in with a yellow Norwich hen. So let's hope we can get some Goldfinch meals from this pair. That'd be nice. Decent yellow Norwich hen to a nice European Goldfinch. So that'll make some great meals. Hopefully we get some out. So yeah, it is a shame that those eggs were actually infertile. And then we go to this pair. Now they have started to rebuild, as I just said, but just taking a bit of time off, I think, that hen. I don't overly focus on the Norwich. I give them everything they need, but I'm not as particular about them compared to probably the natives. But I can't see a reason why we might not have eggs from both of these pairs by next week's video. So now we're going to go to the new arrivals. So these are with the greenfinches. They're actually under the new colour pair down there. So you will know that last week we did move one of the eggs underneath that new colour pair. And the previous week we did move the eggs actually under that pair from the pair of greenfinches. And I'm proud to say we've got 5 chicks. 5 pied greenfinch chicks, so I'm really pleased with that. They're the first young natives of the year, so it's, you know, it is great to see. I'm really pleased, obviously, with us. We just had canaries out at the moment, so it's great to see that we've got you know, some young natives. So we'll take a look at them now. So there you are. We've got a red-eyed satinet hen. She's fostered the greenfinch eggs since the first day, and we now have some youngsters, so I am so pleased. We've got 5 in there, as you can see. Some have already been fed. I'm not great at recognising pieds compared to normals in the nest, because we obviously have what we have is a lightly pied cockbird who is the father to these, to a normal hen. So we'll have to see, but either way, that's 5 young greenfinches in there, and I am so pleased. I'm over the moon. They're looking great. They've been fed. The parents have been feeding them so well over the past past day or so. Found them this morning just before going off to college, pretty much. And well, there we are. That's the youngsters. So I am happy to report that we've got those guys out. And that's great. So the first young natives of the year are these little pied greenfinches. So on the topic of greenfinches, we've got, just before we actually go and visit the pairs in the other bird room, we've got the pair outside. Now that's a normal cock to a normal hen. Yeah, they're my best pair of greenfinches. The hen has laid 6 eggs, so I am so pleased that we've got a rather large clutch from her, rather than maybe stopping at 4. She is a proven hen. She proved for me last year. She's actually the grandmother to the young greenfinches down there. And obviously the cockbird is external, so yeah, we've only just got him in a few months ago. So for those guys, we've got 6 eggs, and I'm happy to report all 6 are full. Now, I did have a few questions and a bit of speculation about how actually candle the eggs and holding the eggs. You know what? The best thing I can do is demonstrate to you. We've got some clear eggs here. So we'll have a look. Yeah, these are Norwich eggs here. So use some speculation about me holding the eggs like this, or like this. And well, I am always careful. It doesn't mean it's right, but I'm always careful with them. And generally what I'll do when I candle eggs and I'm not filming it for you guys is I'll just get the torch and put them to them straight on the nest, so I don't even touch them. But just for the purpose of showing that, then I did think, well, I could do with giving you an idea. I'm always careful with the eggs, and it's never failed me so far, picking them up like that. And yeah, you've got to be careful. So if you can put the torch to the eggs, then please do. But yeah, so that's just clearing that up. But anyway, those 6 eggs are fertile from that normal pair, so they'll be hatching next week, I believe. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll see that in next week's video. So now let's go to the other bird room. So then we've got the pairs of natives in here, the greenfinches. So we've got a pair in here and a pair in there. Now these are the parents to the chicks that we've just seen, obviously that have just hatched under the new colour. So then we've got this pair. Now, about 3 days ago, their eggs were due. They had 5 eggs, and completely due. You know, that they were due on, I believe, Monday, and got to Wednesday, which was yesterday, and still haven't hatched. So that's where, yeah, red flags are coming up where they should have hatched and they haven't. So what I did is put the candle into them first, and what that meant was that I could see how the chicks were developing inside, whether I miscalculated or something. And I noticed that after that, it looked like the chicks have stopped developing about day 7 or 8. And after looking at past issues, what happened? Well, we had a cold spell on that day, and I believe that cost them. It wasn't the candling, which some people might say, because I'd only actually candled the one egg out, and the rest I'd put the torch to, so I'd not really touched them. They just stopped developing, and that was when the cold spell was, and the weather is really throwing the birds off at the moment. So it's unfortunate, it's annoying, but let's let them rebuild, and fingers crossed we get some youngsters from these guys. As for these guys, well, they've rebuilt again, and we've got the first egg today, so we'll have to see how they get on. But again, still messing with material is the issue, still not building a solid nest. Now, it's been a busy week in here for all the redpolls. We've got a bit of heartache, which is pretty much usual for breeding natives at least. And then we've got the upsides as well. We've got everything good. So we'll take a look at everything now. We've got quite a few hens on eggs and nests, and we've got a few that should have youngsters very soon. So starting off with this pair here, this is a pair of cinnamons. Now we've got the cinnamon cock here and the cinnamon hen on eggs. Now these are the eggs that are due any day. Today, when I'm filming, is day 10. She's on 5 eggs, all 5 are full. And obviously we know the history behind her. So there you are, you can just see her 5 eggs. They're due pretty much tomorrow, day 11. So let's hope, fingers crossed, they hatch tomorrow. And we might see that straight after this if they have. And if not, you'll see that in next week's video. Now this is a pair that I'm really pleased to have breeding. So we've got pied, normal pied cockbird there. We think he's a pied, but if he is, he's a first in the line. And we've got his head on here. Now this is the best normal hen that I've got. She is absolutely fantastic. She spent the past week building a lovely little nest. We've got 2 eggs in there now. I've actually took those eggs out to set because the cockbird seemed to like playing with one of those eggs yesterday and sadly broke it. So we actually only have one, but we've got a pot. Well, we've got a pot egg which will sit in place. But that is the little nest of a lovely pair of normals. So let's hope we get some youngsters from them, and well, a full clutch by next week. So then we're going to move to the rest of the pairs now. We'll start here. We had some infertile eggs from these guys last week. They would have been due to hatch this week, but sadly after candling they were infertile. Well, I'm happy to announce that we've got some more. So we've got 2 eggs in there. She laid 2nd this morning. She's rebuilt, so that's great. Let's hope they're full. We've had them on fertility vitamins, so let's hope that cockbird's filled the eggs. Moving to this pair, these eggs were also clear. So we've got the hen back with a nest. Now she has been a bit funny with the first nest just about even sitting, so I'm not going to show you those, but there are 3 eggs in there. So let's hope we get some nice youngsters from these guys. Now we should have had these eggs hatch at the weekend, and we had a similar issue like we had with the greenfinches, which was that the cold spell sadly cost these eggs. Now they were due to hatch at the weekend, and really looking forward to these hatching. We've got the normal the normal pastel cockbird to a cobalt hen. She's rebuilt, which is great, but we did have to remove the eggs, which was sad. By Tuesday we had left them. They were day 14, day 15 at the time, and dropped them a candle and it just looked like they'd stopped developing on that cold spell. So that's really annoying, but part of breeding birds, so let's hope that their next round will be full and they will get chicks in the nest. That's great. We've got this pair here now, so we've got a normal pied cock to a cobalt hen. They have begun to build, no serious attempt, but you can see there's material in the nest, so they are showing interest, so that's a good sign. We'll come down here, we've got cobalt cock split Isabel to a cobalt hen. They have begun building as well. Still a fair, a way to go yet, but nothing to worry about, so that's really positive. And then finally, a bit annoying,
got 2 spare cockbirds now. The cobalt decided that it was a cockbird the other day after showing me that it was a hen. I colour fed it twice, 3 times, plucked it. Should have been a hen because no red came through. Even vent sexed it when pairing up, looked like a hen. Last week it started squealing as they do. Vent sexed it, it's a cockbird. So we've actually got 2 spare cockbirds. We've got a cobalt spare cockbird there, spare, and a normal split cinnamon, split agate. So that's a bit annoying because we should have got quite a few colour variant hens out of him, but I'll see if we can get a hen in for him, for him to at least cover for maybe a round or so this breeding season. And then we'll just quickly forward over here. We've got the normal split Fio cock to a normal hen. No real signs of interest. The hen I had last year, she didn't go down till at least May, June time, so we'll have to see how they get on, but let's hope that we will get some youngsters from these guys as well.
So last week we saw the start of breeding Siberian Goldfinches. Now we've got the trio outside and we've got the agate hen built the nest. Well, after last week's video, it came to the hen at the weekend. She laid the first egg, and that was followed by a second. Now it stopped at 2. Bit unsure why, to be honest, because I didn't actually know that there was 2 in there until about Monday, Tuesday time, and the eggs had clearly been there a few days because I had seen her actually sat, so I presumed there was eggs. And anyway, she sat, but there was only 2 eggs, and it was a bit of a, it's going to be a bit of a waste having her only on 2. And to actually found out as well, I've not really looked at a ring in a while. I got her in October anyway. Turns out she's a 2014 bird, so 7-year-old Goldfinch hen on, she's laid 2, so that's great anyway. So what I've done is I've got some calcium supplement in there, so hopefully when she goes back for the next round we'll have a few more eggs. But what I've done is move those eggs and we've got them under a feeder, so we'll take a look at those in just a second, but I'm going to let her rebuild. Let's hope those eggs are full and she will relay some more and we'll get a round out of her. But what I want to do as well is secure a few young goldfinches by having a canary foster them. I just felt that that would be a safer method rather than the goldfinch cock might cause issues. The bullfinches in there could cause issues, which we'll look at a little later as to why. So, well, we'll have a look at the eggs and see what you think.
So this is the pair we've got fostering now. You might think, well, we had the Norwich under these. We had 3 Norwich eggs. They were also clear. I candled them after a week of being set, and they were just clear. So that was really annoying. But what we do have under there is a greenfinch egg, which I found actually on the floor of it's actually a sibling to one of the youngsters in there by the same parents. The egg was on the floor, and I thought, well, we'll not waste it. Let's see if it's full. Anyway, that's developing nicely. But I've took out the Norwich eggs, and in replace we've put the Goldfinch eggs. Now, don't worry about that greenfinch. It's been set around. The other time there's another nest of greenfinches and some more birds, so there's always the option to take him out. But we've got 2 Goldfinch eggs under there, as you can see, the back 2. So we've got the greenfinch egg at the front, that's full, and we've got 2 goldfinch eggs. Now I'm hoping those goldfinch eggs are full, which would be really nice to get some young goldfinches. They'd be the first for me. I've never bred goldfinches before, and that's the 2 eggs. So let's hope that they are full, and the goldfinch cock did his job. Obviously, it would be ideal having a few young Siberian goldfinches just to work with next year or what. It would be nice to breed a few, so fingers crossed. Let's hope they're full and we'll see how they're getting on in next week's video.
So this week we've also seen the start with some more native birds. So we've got the bullfinches now building their nest. So obviously these guys are 4 years old this year, the pair. It's a normal split pastel cockbird to a normal hen. We bred them last year. We had a few youngsters off them. We only got one onto the sticks and through the molt because they were quite challenging, but I know where I went wrong, so I know where to fix it this time and make it better, and hopefully should work. So they've started building this week. I'm giving them mainly cocoa fibre. I've given them some roots as well and some twigs because they've decided to build in a chapel nest with a mesh base, just to give it that more solid base with some slightly larger, you know, the sticks and the roots, and then they can completely line that and fill that with cocoa fibre. So hopefully we'll see a nest complete next week, which would be nice, and maybe some eggs. So fingers crossed that that continues. So now we've got the crossbill flights. I've actually redone both of them. We've got the one here and one here. So we're going to take a look at them now and actually how I've changed it. So hopefully we might breed some the later half of this year. So I've gone a really simple design with this now. I've took down all of the like conifers and the Christmas tree in there, and just left it really minimal and simple. We've obviously got some cover around there. Now, I've changed the nest sites, as you can see, where I've put the external cage part of the cage part of an external nest pan around the actual cocoa fibre nest. We've put some fake Christmas tree around that, as well as some conifer. And just gone a really simple idea with it, and that just means that the pairs aren't going to be getting distracted chewing and investigating a load of Christmas tree, and rather just hopefully get to breeding. So that's what I've done with this pair at least. We'll just move to this pair now. Not an awful lot different, as you can see. It's generally the same idea. There's a few apple branches in there as well, which I've put up, the darker branches, the thinner ones, and that's obviously good for them chewing, because it helps them come into condition. As crossbills, they generally love to chew as well, as you probably all know. So let's just hope that this change, it's been for about 5 or 6 days now, might get them going with the some warmer weather. So fingers crossed for that. So we've had an interesting week with the birds in this bird room. Now, just starting off with the siskins, still no developments, which is getting annoying. Considering that we had a hen who was slightly earlier than where we paired up, who was showing signs that she wanted to nest. She's not gone to nest, and I can only put that down to that she's not comfortable and not happy with the cages. So what I am thinking is we're going to give the crossbills a few weeks now in the flights that I've changed, and if in a few weeks' time there's still no interest, then it's not worth wasting a flight. And we'll put one of the pairs in there, and we'll try and do something else with the other pair, and well, hopefully it works, it goes to plan, and we will get some young siskins out. Well, as you've just seen, we've had a bit of a fallout with one of the pairs, which we'll come to now actually. So we've got a Norwich cock in here with a greenfinch hen, and over the past week or so she began building the nest, the greenfinch hen, and we've got 4 eggs, so let's hope they're full. Obviously it's a young greenfinch hen, so we'll have to see and how she gets on, because she's obviously never reared before, and it is a youngly Norwich. I mean, as you can see, the Norwich cock's actually going into the nest, but I can tell you and guarantee you right now that that's a cock bird. Not only have I vent sexed it, I've also seen it threading the hen and singing, so there's no doubt to me that that's not a cock bird, you know, and let's just hope they're fertile, so that would be great. Coming to then actually the siskin redpoll hybrid pair. Now I had to remove the siskin a few days ago, and the reason being is that they were just falling out badly. You know, we've seen a bit of squabbling now from this pair here, but nothing compared to that. The siskin cock was really having a good go at the redpoll hen, so I decided, well, it's probably about time that we should see some sort of moving forward, and the birds will get aggressive in the breeding season. Yeah, mainly the cock birds as the hormones are raging, and anyway, so I've removed him and I've actually put him in the flight, which is against this shed, which is where we're going to have the youngsters once they're fully weaned, and I'm happy with them to trust that they'll be all right outside. So I've moved him in there just to keep him fit. You might be able to hear him, and anyway, left the redpoll hen on her own. She's been alone 3 days and she's already started building, so I think that she was either trying to build and the siskin was taking the nest material out, or he was just not making her comfortable. So I've removed him, put him in there, the redpoll hen started building. So what we'll do in a few days' time is we'll reintroduce the pair. Hopefully they have bonded, and we'll see maybe the siskin cock thread the redpoll hen, and maybe we'll get some eggs by next week's video, so fingers crossed for that as well. And then also another one of the mule pairs. Obviously you saw we put the Goldfinch cock in with a Norwich hen. Well, we have another Goldfinch cock in with a new colour cross hen. And she has built up now, so she's been built up actually about a week. We still haven't had an egg yet, so what I've done is remove the Goldfinch cock I'm going to do it for a few days, just to see if when I reintroduce them, she might go to nest. I've seen her sat on the nest and everything like that, she just hasn't laid an egg, so we might have to change something slightly, but we'll see what happens there. So again, fingers crossed for another bit of something else, and let's hope that by next week's video we might have some eggs or some development with her. So that does bring us to the end of this week's video, so I hope you've enjoyed it and found some useful tips. Now, I've had a great response from episode 3 with about 3,600 viewers in the first week, so huge thank you to everyone who's watched that, and thank you for supporting the channel. So if you have enjoyed today's video and you'd like to see more, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, get your notification bell on and share the video. So thank you very much, I'll see you in the next one.